Reading Room, a conversation between Murray Stein and Henry Abramovitch. Sound design by Ariane Frank. A production of Blue Salamandra. Setting: Yale University's Sterling Library. Murray and Henry are sitting comfortably in the Linonia and Brothers reading room. It is early summer 2025.
Murray, what are you reading now?
I'm reading Tolkien's Lord of the Rings, Henry. Although it's fantasy fiction, it tackles the problem of evil head on. Incredibly, it's one of the best-selling novels of all time, although it's not an easy book to read. It's very long, and at times it's tedious, thematically very heavy. But I'm gripped by it. I find that reading books of the imagination like this one gives me a lot of food for thought about psychological issues. How about you, Henry? Do novels grab you?
They do, Murray. Anne Lamont says it beautifully. What a miracle it is that out of these small, flat, rigid squares of paper unfold world after world after world, worlds that sing to you, comfort and quiet or excite you. Books help us understand who we are and how we are to behave.
Yes.
They show us what community and friendship mean. They show us how to live and die.
That's really music to my ears, Henry. She catches the effects of reading so beautifully.
Mm-hmm. The Chinese say carrying a book is like having an entire garden in your pocket.
A garden? And what's the garden in your pocket these days, Henry?
Well, you know, Murray, when I was young, I worshipped the new.
Yeah?
I searched only for the newest avant-garde books.
Ah.
But now, with age, I feel there's nothing more satisfying than rereading an old friend.
Oh, yes.
That's my definition of literature. Something worth reading again and again. Today I'm meeting one of my oldest and most beloved friends. The world's first story of the hero's journey.
You must be meeting up with Gilgamesh today,
Yes,
Henry.
Murray, Gilgamesh. Gilgamesh tells of a man tormented by his uneven nature. 2/3 divine, yet 1/3 human, who fights an enemy, but finds in him a friend, to whom he can tell his dreams, and with whom he can go on a journey to himself. What is extraordinary about reading is that when I read, I'm fully engaged in the adventure. When Gilgamesh kills the monster Humbaba, I'm right there at his side. When his friend Enkidu dies, I weep at each syllable. But Murray, let me ask you, what is the very first book you read?
Oh, wow. I don't remember exactly, but novels have been with me ever since I was a boy. I love them. I become immersed, and the story has a magnetic effect on me. It draws up images, feelings out of the darkness of my psyche. But look around us here, Henry. We're sitting in the great Sterling Library at Yale University, a veritable temple to books and reading.
Yes, Sterling Library is the great secular cathedral that celebrates and sanctifies writers from all the ages.
Yes.
Mark Twain said, in a good book room, you feel in some mysterious way that you are absorbing the wisdom contained in all the books through your skin, even without opening them. When I read in this library, I never feel alone.
Yes, and here in this room dedicated to reading, we find a sanctuary. Place to sit at a desk or in a chair, to study or to read for pleasure or even to catch a quick nap. So quiet in here.
Yes, I remember coming here for refuge during the reading period.
Me too.
That liminal time between the end of classes and the onslaught of exams.
Yes.
the green leather chairs embraced me like a lullaby, allowing me to read again, not to remember for the test ahead, but in an expanding present.
In the lap of the great mother. Henry, what was the first big read of your life? I mean, a work of major significance in the literary canon.
I do remember reading Thomas Mann's The Magic Mountain as a young adolescent. I was thrilled to enter deeply into the mini-universe of the sanitarium, the experience of illness, the intrigues with the Kirgizi lady.
Yes, me too.
I experienced it as a whole world, and then abruptly it stopped.
Oh, dear.
I finished the last page, but the story was not over. I didn't understand. I felt cut off, left out. I was in torment for days.
Poor boy.
Until I realized it was only the first volume of a 2-volume set. I went off to search for volume 2, and when I found it, it was like redemption.
Yes. Well, that certainly counts as a big read, Henry. I learned about the supreme value of reading from some great teachers right here at Yale. My most appreciated teacher was the brilliant Harold Bloom, at that time still a young man of 30, but already a full professor. And he taught us about what he called deep reading. I remember him in class reciting, or rather chanting, long passages from Milton's Paradise Lost and that wonderful poem, An Ode to Autumn by John Keats, with his eyes closed. He was reading from memory, and the passion expressed in his unforgettable face remains with me to this day.
Yes, I remember him too. My beloved mentor at Yale, Leonard Doom, studied such eidetic images that stay with you vividly even after the page is turned. Gifted individuals can continue reading even after the book is shut. I always read before going to sleep, and even in the worst of days, I know the day will end with a book in my hand. When do you like to read, Murray?
Well, like you, I read for pleasure in the evening. But if I read for information, it could be any time during the day. Fact is, I'm never far from reading. Books surround me, just as they do us here, where we're sitting and chatting in the L&B room, named after 2 19th century literary clubs.
Do you know, Murray, exceptional members of these clubs include the iconic figures of American civilization. Nathan Hale,
Yes.
Eli Whitney,
Wow.
James Fenimore Cooper, Noah Webster, Samuel Morse, and Richard Henry Green, the first Afro-American to graduate from Yale in 1857.
How splendid.
Each one found new ways to invent, to speak up, and to speak out. Who do you think said this line, Murray? My alma mater was books, a good library. I could spend the rest of my life reading, just satisfying my curiosity.
No, I don't know. Who was it, Henry? Sounds like one of us.
Surprisingly, it is the Black Power activist Malcolm X.
A reading bro.
Sometimes I think I can read the same book in 2 different ways.
Really? Well, that's interesting, Henry. What are they?
Well, one kind of reading is more about finding out what is going to happen, which involves suspense and tension. A different kind of reading is more aligned to what the characters are feeling, their secret motivations and flutterings of the heart. Suspense reading is all about who did it and why. Character mode is more about the secret sufferings of the soul and how people react to the unexpected.
Well, when I'm reading Dostoevsky, I am totally given over to imagining his characters, what's happening to them inside and outside. But if I read a work like Jung's Ion, for example, on the other hand, I'm engaged by his thinking, and my thinking lines up with his. And then There's poetry, Henry. It's musical. Do you read poetry, Henry?
I do, Murray. Some lines are my life's companion, like Shelley's line, "If winter comes, can spring be far behind?"
Oh, I love that one.
What lines nurture you, Murray?
Well, this one comes immediately to mind when you ask, from my childhood. Shut in from all the world about, we sat the clean-winged hearth about, content to let the north wind roar in baffled rage at pane and door. I learned those lines by John Greenleaf Whittier in elementary school while living in South Dakota on the Great Plains where winter storms abound. But for nurturance, I might look to the Psalms I memorized as a boy, for instance. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me.
Amen. How about other types of reading? Not for nurturance, but for rigorous challenge.
Well, you once told me this, Henry. Kafka said, if the book we are reading does not wake us, as with a fist hammering on our skulls, then why do we read it? Now, Jung's Memories, Dreams, Reflections was just such a fist with a hammer for me. Broke open a door to another room of the mind's house, the space of dreams and the unconscious. This was an amazing new discovery for me. Reading that book was a rigorous challenge, and it changed my life. Has a book ever changed your life, Henry?
Yes. I remember the moment I decided to become a Jungian analyst.
Oh,
I was in
really?
Rome,
Yeah?
staying with my friends in the Living Theatre, an international political theatre group.
Yeah?
After intense fieldwork about ancestral spirits in Madagascar, I found Jung's Memories, Dreams, Reflection and opened it at random.
Ah,
I read, "The ancestors represent the realm of the collective unconscious." I said, yes, it was a eureka moment for me.
yes. For me, too, that book was really something. St. Augustine recounts in his memoirs that reading St. Paul's letter to the Romans changed his life. And I heard a very similar story from a Russian man when I was visiting St. Petersburg in the early 2000s. He told me that reading the New Testament secretly, because it was forbidden at the time, as a teenager, during Soviet times, changed his life's direction completely.
Yes. I want to tell you, Murray, in some Jewish traditions, when a young child comes to learn the letters of the Aleph Bet, the first teacher puts honey on the page or feeds the child letters made of honey cake.
Yum.
So
yum.
the child will always feel the sweetness of reading.
Oh, lovely.
Reading by ourselves and reading for ourselves are the great natural pathways towards autonomy and individuation.
Absolutely.
At that magic moment, I can choose what I read it fast or slow, stop, ponder, put it aside, resume, only to cast it down in the recycling bin. Good riddance. Reading allows for that unique combination of being alone, by myself, yet profoundly with another. As Samuel Johnson wrote, a writer only begins a book. A reader finishes it.
As always, Dr. Johnson got it right. It takes both writer and reader to make a great book. So many gifted readers have pored over the Bible and Dante and Goethe. And this continues to this day. Those books are immortalized by their readers. But listen, the quiet in this room is what I like about it, Henry. Libraries are built not only to house books, but also to offer people a space to be with them without interruption. Here you can see people absorbed in books, and they're in another world.
Yes, it's a blessed silence, quiet, intense, of fullness.
Yeah.
And there is also the soothing joy of knowing that there is always another book to read.
Yes.
Reading reflects a psychology of surplus.
That's one of your great topics, Henry.
Yeah.
Psychology of surplus. Absolutely. A great surplus indeed, as we see around us. Remember Job's famous question, where shall wisdom be found? Well, one place to look would be in books.
Yes, these books are springs that never run dry, as well as a rumbling voice heard across the generations. In that journey, from beginning a volume to its end, you emerge a different person.
Now, I'm thinking of more mundane reading, Henry, like newspapers, magazine articles. These also have an impact on us. I remember hearing that Karl Barth, the great Swiss Protestant theologian, 20th century, contemporary of Jung's, said he read the Bible in one hand and the daily newspaper in the other. I read several newspapers. They give me some sense of the spirit of the times.
Yes, headlines, editorials, sports, weather and crossword puzzle.
I love it.
Newspapers are the vital lifeline, so important to be read on the day. Holding that light and flimsy paper in your hand as you fold it this way and that way, seeing the print tiny and bold, is surely an experience now in danger of obsolescence.
You get that ink on
We
your fingers.
breathe in the newsprint and then throw it away, become recycling and fish wrapping. Newspapers are the fast food of the reading world. Magazines, in contrast, are slower, deeper, thicker, like a French dinner.
Maybe.
On the other hand, as you told me, Murray, Ezra Pound said, literature is news that stays news.
Oh, I love that. How right he is. Reading great books, we live in the timeless. It's totally different from reading the news of the day, which absorbs us in the immediate moment. But now a question occurs to me. How do we bring these two worlds into contact with each other, within us? Reading the timeless documents of the soul can be so otherworldly and removed from our own daily life that there's hardly any contact. This can be disorienting. I often shake my head and ask, what day is this, when I've spent an amount of time reading a work of high literature? And here in Sterling Library, we're out of the fray. You know, a goddess presides over this temple of learning and books. Can one close that huge divide between the library and the street?
A man, unhappy with his church, hammers 95 theses to the door of the All Saints Church in Wittenberg. People read it, and they regain the right to read scripture for themselves. In the most repressive Soviet society, samizats, those secret banned manuscripts, are passed from hand to hand and allow people to breathe the oxygen of freedom and liberty.
Smells
In
good.
the priestly blessing, that most ancient part of Hebrew ritual, the priests cover in their prayer shawls may only chant what the reader calls out the text word by word.
Really?
So yes, Murray, the abyss can be crossed, but only by a still small voice.
Yes, and in such cases, the two worlds meet, and things change. Now, in here we can't read out loud, but look at that guy over there, Henry. His lips are moving as he reads that big tome on the table in front of him. When do you read out loud, Henry?
Well, I always read poetry aloud so I can hear the words take flight.
Oh, yes.
Likewise, when I'm doing my own writing, there comes a point when I need to hear my own draft, not with my eyes, but through my ears.
Yeah, me too.
Then immediately I know what needs to be changed. As a Jew, I read aloud from the Torah and also the Shema prayer. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad.
What a prayer. Wow.
When do you read aloud, Murray?
Mostly when I give a lecture. As I'm reading my prepared text aloud, I'm often taken by surprise at my own emotions, especially if the words are poetic. Books and writing are an evolutionary development from speaking and singing, which are a development from birds singing in the trees and the bushes. These books around us, here in this reading room, Henry, there's a lot of song.
There's a lot of song. The oldest known song in the world is written in cuneiform, the oldest script in the world. It's written on a clay tablet the size of an iPhone with lyrics and musical notation, each in a different language.
Wow,
it's
so
a hymn to the moon goddess, offering her sesame oil and asking for fertility. Songbooks are our most beloved possessions. Singing together creates community. Do you have a favorite song, Murray?
Strange that you should ask, Henry, because while we're sitting here, the Whiff and Poof song has been playing at the back of my mind. I won't say it's my favorite song, but it is a recurring regular. It comes to me. You know, to the tables down at Maury's, to the place where Louis dwells. What really moves me is the line toward the end of the piece. It goes like this. We will serenade our Louis while life and voice shall last. Then we'll pass and be forgotten like the rest.
Lovely.
I find that line arresting. And it sometimes comes to me in the middle of the night, you know, at the hour of the wolf. Do you sing, Henry?
Well, you know, Murray, I'm not much of a singer, but these last lines make me remember the very recent funeral of our dear friend, Paul Mendes-Flohr.
Oh, yeah.
Following the recitation of the ritual text, the family and friends stayed behind to sing one of his favorite songs.
One of his,
Yeah. We sent out the words on WhatsApp so everyone could read it and sing together. Old Man River, that old man River, he just keeps rolling along.
I love that song. Paul was a great reader, maybe one of the greatest. Do you think there are libraries and books in the afterlife, Henry? This library might be a reflection of a heavenly one, you know. It seems built after a transcendental model. We find the spirit in books, so why wouldn't there be books where the spirit dwells?
Mm-hmm.
I can visualize Paul in a heavenly library, studying a timeless manuscript he didn't quite fully understand in his lifetime here on earth.
Oh, sure. Actually, there is a strong rabbinic tradition revitalized in the book of Zohar that says, a book, the Torah, preceded creation.
Really?
Yes, God looked into the Torah and created the world. In the beginning, there were the letters, black fire on white fire.
Oh, what an intense image. Black fire on white fire. The opposite is a book with no fire, whose words are dead on the page. There are books, and there are books. In John's Apocalypse, the last book of the New Testament, the angel of the Lord speaks of the book of life. A soul's fate hangs on whether their earthly name is inscribed in this book. Personally, I think of the book of life as the archetypal book that gives life to the material books that inspire us. Can you name a book that has given you life in a special way, Henry?
Oh, yes. Breshit, Genesis, is an everlasting spring of soulful refreshment. But Murray, do you have a book that never lets you down?
Well, the great works of literature never let me down. I'm thinking of Dante's Commedia, for instance. His journey through hell with his guide, Virgil, beside him, on through purgatory and then into heaven, and his beatific vision of the love that moves the sun and all the other stars. This never ceases to fill me with wonder. And you, Henry?
Well, there is one extraordinary text that endlessly fascinates me.
Yes?
It's the vast Indian epic, the Mahabharata,
Ah,
which says of itself, what is not found here is nowhere. It's a story of 5 brothers
yes?
married to one woman
Oh, extraordinary.
and who must disguise themselves so that not even the gods will be able to find them. The Mahabharata is a sacred text that is recited, chanted, sung, danced, and especially acted out with shadow puppets.
Oh, yes, yes.
It's not normally something read aloud, and it made me think about the difference between reading by yourself and reading aloud.
Yes?
What can you say about the difference, Murray?
Well, reading aloud is a whole different genre of reading. I remember a long journey by car that my wife and I took many years ago. And going and coming back, we read the Odyssey to each other, the whole book. It's an unforgettable experience. Reading aloud also is often a part of sacred ritual. But Henry, we're Jungian analysts. What about the shadow?
Yes, what about the shadow?
Is there a shadow side to reading books, I wonder? Can we be led astray by the seductions of language and books? People have been inspired to commit terrible acts of destruction, inspired by reading a book, even by a sacred text.
Yes. Yes, I think there is a shadow, Murray, especially to reading aloud.
Yeah.
We first meet reading when a parent reads to us aloud before bedtime.
Oh, yes, I remember.
And this, as you know, is an enchanted moment.
Oh, for sure.
And yet, it sets up a hidden dynamic of yielding to authority.
Yielding, yeah.
Later in life, this submissive dynamic can reappear in a more sinister way when we yield to books being read or cited with charismatic authority.
Yes, yielding to books. That's a sharp insight about the authority of the recited text, potential for abuse. I remember as a child, I heard the Bible read aloud regularly, all the time, at home and in church. That book carried absolute authority. Took me years to put the Bible in its proper place on the bookshelf with the other books. I had to outgrow my childhood view of letting it function as absolute authority, the last word. But it still inspires me when I read certain passages, and I don't think it will ever lose that power for me.
Yes. For me, sometimes when I'm back home in Israel, Palestine, a book can suddenly lose its power.
Really? Yeah.
When I remember the unbearable suffering all around me.
Oh, my God,
in
yes.
Gaza, among the hostages, the victims, then I cannot read anymore.
Yeah, I understand.
Yet today, I was reading the prison diaries of Alexei Navalny, the Russian opposition leader who returned to Russia knowing he would be imprisoned, tortured, and die.
Oh, my God, yes. Well,
I cannot be but inspired by his words that I read in his book. So even if we are headed for a dark age, I believe there will always be a brotherhood and a sisterhood of people to whom books and the freedom to read them will be sacred.
Sacred, yes. Well, the words we read of such heroic deeds infect our minds with resolution to be strong and brave. The word on the page is a flag waving on the field of spiritual battle. Tolkien's Lord of the Rings has this effect on some people. I feel this when I read Thomas Jefferson's Declaration of Independence, for example. Imagine the feeling of King George III when he read these words. We hold these truths to be self-evident,
Wow.
that all men are created equal.
Wow. Reading is strong medicine, and it's good for your health, Murray. As a study
Great.
done right here at Yale University found,
I love it.
reading regularly added almost 2 years to your life.
Oh my gosh, wonderful.
On the other hand, Martin Buber wrote, a purely delightful book comes my way more often than a purely delightful person. But when I come to die, I hope it will not be with a book in my hand.
I agree with that. Books are precious, but they can't compare to friendship and intimate relationships.
Murray, here is a book for you. A gift to hold until Jan comes to hold your hand.
What is it? Oh, thank you, Henry. Rilke's Duino Elegies. Beautiful edition. Just right for the hand. That's perfect. And here's one for you, Henry, until Eva arrives at your side.
Oh, I'm really touched. Homer's Odyssey, one of my all-time favorites.
I'm glad you like it, Henry. Uh-oh, I hear the bell ringing to tell us it's time to leave the reading room. Okay, let's talk some more another day, my dear friend.
Farewell, until we read again.
Till we read again.